As you put a bullet in your head and get the f*** out of my country, you sucking bitch. I'll kill you.
To review, press 0. To reply, press 1.
So obviously there's some of that is so terrible that we had to bleep it out, but the stuff that is left is pretty terrible. That is a person who would love nothing more than to murder Representative Ilhan Omar. I don't know how notable this one individual is in comparison to the constant death threats that she and other members of Congress, particularly women of color, receive on a daily basis. But imagine that on the same day that they are delivering a win to that guy is having a great day today because Ilhan Omar got taken off of her committee. His side feels like they're winning. And Kevin McCarthy and all those other Republicans, some of whom are obviously crazy, some who would try to pretend that they're rational, they care far more about the interests of that prospective assassin than they do regular people. And so Ilhan Omar put out a comment with that saying, this is one example of a death threat that came into my office this week. These threats increase whenever Republicans put a target on my back. They can continue to target me, but they will never stop me for fighting for a more just world. By the way, as horrific as this is to listen to, I share it because the Republican Party and the public need to know that there is a very real human cost to their continued targeting of women of color, not just to me, but to those who share my identities. And it is an intentional one. They are not unaware that there are more threats when they do this. They are fully aware of that. That is the main reason that they do it. It is to drive hatred, fear, and xenophobia against whoever. It could be trans teens one day, it could be Ilhan Omar the next day. And this is all obviously done in service to the wealthiest and most powerful people in this country. Maz, what do you make of that? I know it was obviously hard to listen to.
Yeah, listen, this again, not to draw too many parallels, but this reminds me of the people who are extremists in the Islamic regime, the people who are running the Islamic regime. In their eyes, they're doing the right thing because they are doing what God wants them to do. And so you got people like this guy who's threatening Ilhan Omar, or you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others who really believe in this, in their cause. They really think that the world is going communist and the Democrats are running this country to the ground and that Jesus needs to come back and gays are bad and people of color and immigrants are bad. I mean, that's how they see the world. And so you can't have a rational conversation with these members of Congress who see the world like that. And the hope is, you go, how do we fix this? I mean, the hope really would have been if they weren't gerrymandering or other ways to get some of these really far extremist members into Congress and you had rational people in Congress, then you could have a conversation. And that conversation would be, listen, you and I can disagree on certain policies, but we need to both agree that we need to defend each other's safety, that there's a line that we draw, that we go, no, this is violence, you can't be doing this. And guys like McCarthy and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Gosar, everybody else who had it out for Ilhan Omar will just turn a blind eye to threats like this and they'll say, oh, well, there's nothing we can do here. So that's how January 6th happens. They didn't turn around. Every member of Congress after January 6th should have said, this was wrong. Trump is a criminal and we need to weed this out of our party. They did not do that. So similarly, when threats like this are shown to the world, these people aren't rational. They are so power hungry and they think that they're doing God's work. So they just turn a blind eye to crazy people like this. We've seen this in sports. If two teams oppose each other, but the fans of the home team starts saying or doing something to the opposing team, a lot of times the home team players would turn around and yell at their fans and say, this is not right. We are brothers or sisters in this activity and this sport and we are sane, which is how the Congress should work. But it doesn't, and it's led by a bunch of cowards and they're gonna turn a blind eye to this guy and eventually something really bad is going to happen. It already has January 6th, but it's gonna happen again.
Yeah, and bear in mind Paul Pelosi, the attack that a guy tried to murder Nancy Pelosi. That's what he went there to do. He almost murdered her husband, and they obviously haven't learned anything from that. They have no interest in learning anything from that. They are encouraging those same sorts of people.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.